called me out upon the waters, the great unknown, where feet may fail. Come on, sing it to me. And there I found in the mystery, in oceans deep, my faith will stand. And I will call upon your name and keep my eyes above the waves. When oceans rise, my soul will rest in your embrace. I am yours, and you are mine.
It's another beautiful Tuesday. Glory be to God. I am so excited to reach you again today. Thank God for your life. Thank God that you are alive in this extraordinary season, one in which many people are panicking because of the pandemic. But God said in His word that He has not given us the spirit of fear, but the spirit of boldness. Many things make people panic even before the pandemic comes, or rather, the pandemic arrived. Some people panic because they say, oh, age is going, when am I going to have children? Some people panic, where is my man, where is my woman? Some people panic when they can't see the job. Some people panic when they are threatened, with sack, or they're not promoted. Some people panic when a man they've been dating for 5 or 10 years suddenly says, I don't think I want to move ahead. Some people panic when they get pregnant out of wedlock. Some people panic because they've been divorced once and they're saying to themselves, will I go through another divorce? Yet they are not finding joy in their own home. Some panic because their children are not doing well. For those who are married, or for those, who went through divorce and already had children before they did. People panic for different reasons. One of those I spoke to this morning was panicking because her daughter has been called for NYSC, and to her, how do I release a child, a grown-up child, at this time when we just had an unrest in Nigeria? What is your point of panic? What is your point of pain? Why is it a point of panic, and why is it a point of pain? It boils down to just one thing: lack of belief. Lack of belief. Can we protect children? No. Can we make ourselves married? Well, maybe, because you can just walk out there and pick a driver and say, I want to marry you. If you're rich, you probably would say yes. So you really can make it happen. Some years back, I asked at a conference, at one of our conferences, why are you unmarried? And people had different answers. And I ended up telling them that you're unmarried because you've either not said yes, or you've not asked someone to marry you. Because until you do one of the two, you may never start the journey towards marriage. Some people actually start living together, and you discover that after 8 years or 10 years or even 5 years, the man can wake up and say, but we're not married. Well, if you were in America, the law would protect you as what they call a civil partner. But when you're in Nigeria, if you live with the man for 19 years and have children by him, the day he goes to marry somebody else under the law, then whatever you have is terminated. This morning, I bring you a message from one of my recent books. It's titled Beautified by Grace. Beautified by grace. How can your life be beautified? How can you find joy in the woman or the man that God has made you? It's not something I can complete today in a 10 minutes audio message, but I'll just touch on some things. The Bible in Psalm says you have been wonderfully created, specially and wonderfully made. That is you. Perhaps you look at yourself in the mirror and you say, oh, I am not fine. Oh, I am not pretty enough. Oh, the pretty ones are getting the men. Oh, the handsome men are getting the women. You are beautiful. You are an original. The palm of your hands tells you that. Your eyeballs tells you that. Your mannerism, the person you are, tells you that. There are no two you. How can you be beautified? Beautified for the man you're trusting God for. Beautified for the woman you're trusting God for. Beautified for purpose. Beautified for prosperity. Beautified to be the chosen one. Beautified to be acknowledged. How can you be graced with beauty? Yes, for some people it just happens. God just blesses them. You know, one of the books I've written or I just sent to press is Singled Out to Lead. It tells the story of a man who has just been graced. You know, he has just been graced. He didn't really do much, but God picked him. But then he had to do so many things in order to retain the grace, because the grace on people's lives can be shattered. We know the story of the man in the Bible, the powerful man, Samson. He had grace upon his life. He was born with grace, but he woke up one day and ended up committing suicide. Why? Because he lost it. Many of us were graced. Many of us are graced. But what can you do? One of the things we're created for, I tell people, we're created for 3 major things. One is purpose. If you're yet to discover your purpose, sign up. Sign up for our counseling sessions. The minimum is 4 sessions. The maximum is 12. But you can just register and you get 1 session. And say, I just want to talk about my purpose. Because when purpose is not known, abuse is inevitable. We were told that. Abuse is inevitable. So we were created for purpose. We are created for praise. And we are created for profit. If you don't believe that, check out the story of the talents. 1 talent, 3 talents, or 2 talents, 5 talents. What did that translate into? So put in another way, we were created for worship. We were created for worth, for value. And then we were created for wages. If you cannot earn, then you cannot live. To be graced, you must earn respect. To be graced, you must earn honor. To be graced, you must be able to earn money. No matter how modest you want to be, your paycheck will determine so many things. Will determine whether you can go on a vacation. Will determine the kind of car you will drive, the kind of home you will live in. So we were put on this earth to multiply. Not just in terms of human beings, not just in terms of joining God in creation, but in terms of, building people, building ourselves, contributing to our environment. I say to people who feel so lonely, adopt a child, adopt a family member, foster a child. Go to a home and say, I want to foster a child. That child you may not necessarily take home, but you would have a schedule where you come to check on the child, where you pay fees for the child, and you're regarded as the child's parent. There's so many things you can do to raise your own esteem, to enjoy grace. In America, if you're fostering a child or you adopted a child, you can file for taxes and include that child, which means you will earn money. But be sure you're not just doing it for the money, but to contribute to your own life and the lives of other people around you. Find a hobby. Do something. Don't just stay at home expecting the man to come. I had a friend, all she ever wanted was to marry. We started business, she couldn't do it well, she wanted to marry. She bought a vehicle, she said, I can't drive it is depressing me. People are saying, you have bought a car, you don't have a husband. She bought an apartment, she couldn't live in it. She was listening to what people were saying. Guess what? One day marriage happened. Before she could say Jack Robinson, within the year of marriage, 9 months after, she had a child. Soon after, she had the second one. Guess what? She didn't find joy in her home. Now she's looking for everything that God gave her that she threw away because she wanted a man. It happens to some men too. God sends them so many women. They say, oh, this one, the nose is too broad. This one, the buttocks is small. This one, the breast is too big. And then they wake up one day and they realize that they've lost grace. That the women they are turning to are saying to them, no. So for you to retain grace or to have grace or to be beautified by grace, you need to worship. You need to know your purpose and walk within your purpose. You need to work towards earning what can make you step into a room and people will say, who is he? Who is she? It's grace, but it can be earned. Thank you so much for listening. Know that you can always reach out to me if you're a registered, bona fide registered member of Divine Connection. If you're not registered, I can answer your questions on any of our platforms. Twitter, Facebook, the website. Post a question there and you get an answer. But I'm unable to do one-on-one for those who are not committed to the ministry because it will be draining. It means I have to respond to 100 or 1,000 people individually. That is draining. But when you sign up for counsel, I can be the one to take you. Any of our other coordinators or counselors can take you. You can be referred for deliverance if you need deliverance. You can be referred to a trainer if you need a job, if you need job training. There's so much more. God bless you. It is well with you. God will continue to uphold you. Please do not be depressed. Depression does not pay dividend. Remember that Dr. Omolola Omotesho said, depression does not pay dividend. Bye for now. Enjoy the rest of your day.